I am from Helping Hand MBBS, and today we are going to discuss parasympathetic nervous system in a very short way. We will just revise parasympathetic nervous system in just 5 minutes. So let us start. So first of all, we will study about the receptors of parasympathetic nervous system. In parasympathetic nervous system, there are two types of receptor: nicotinic receptors and the muscarinic receptors. So what are the further types of these receptors? Nicotinic receptors are of two types, like NN type and NM type. This NN type is present in CNS and the ganglia, whereas this NM type is present at neuromuscular junction, that is at muscle. It is very easy to find here that it is present in muscle because there it is, M is present here. So it is present on muscles, and this is on neurons, that is in ganglia and in CNS. In CNS, what it causes? Excitation. Excitation in CNS increase cognition power, that is memory power. Increase excitation and cognition, and in ganglia it increases the release of acetylcholine and causes stimulation of further sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Remember that the acetylcholine is neurotransmitter for both sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system at the autonomic ganglia. Okay, now we will study that there are three types of muscarinic: M1, M2 and M3. So M1 is present in GIT. It increases the secretions in GIT, like various secretions, SCL, gastrin, etc. In heart, we all know that parasympathetic nervous system decreases the heart rate and contraction, decreases both heart rate and contraction. So this is the function in heart. So what are the functions in what are the functions of M3 receptor? M3 receptor is present in bronchus. It causes bronchoconstriction. And remember that parasympathetic nervous system causes constriction in bronchus and in GIT. So it causes bronchoconstriction here. And in GIT it causes increase in peristalsis, etc. So guys, these are bronchus and GIT. Other than bladder, it also causes constriction of bladder, that it causes the constriction of detrusor muscle and help in urination. In eye, it causes meiosis. It causes meiosis. We all know meiosis is that there is pupillary constriction due to the contraction of the circular muscle of eye. In gland, it increases the secretion. In various gland, it increases the secretions. Like salivary gland, it increases the saliva. So if there is deficiency of acetylcholine, there will be dry mouth, etc. So in glands, it increases the secretion. We have now studied the various receptors, where they are present and what are their respective functions. So these are the major functions of the parasympathetic nervous system. Now let us see the various cholinergic drugs here. The cholinergic drugs are divided into two types, that is direct cholinergic drug and the indirect cholinergic drug. In direct cholinergic drug, the drug directly act on the receptor, that is NN type receptor and the M type receptor. So in nicotinic receptor, what drugs can act directly on nicotinic receptor? There are nicotine and varenicline. So these two drugs directly act on nicotinic receptor. And what is the function? I told you that the nicotinic receptors are of two type, NN and NM. In NM, it will cause the contraction of the muscle, and in NN it causes increase in cognition and excitation. So this is why that in smoking there is nicotine and it causes the excitation of CNS. So it is due to this nicotine present in NN receptor. It stimulates NN receptor. In M receptor directly stimulated by acetylcholine, we know this. Another drug, cevimeline, and important point is that it is drug of choice for xerostomia. What is xerostomia? Xerostomia is dry mouth, no saliva. So if we give cevimeline, it acts on gland, that is M3 receptor, and it causes the increased secretions and will treat the xerostomia. So this is cevimeline. Also the third drug is pilocarpine. Remember, it is the drug of choice for closed angle glaucoma. Closed angle glaucoma. I have discussed this in detail in the glaucoma video. You just have to remember that it increases the trabecular outflow and it is used in closed angle glaucoma. It is drug of choice for closed angle glaucoma. Another drug is carbachol and another is bethanechol. Bethanechol is used, it is for B is for bladder. So it is used for bladder atony. we know that it increases the contraction of bladder. So if there is atony, we give the bethanechol, it increases the contraction, so it is used in bladder atony. So these are the direct drug, guys. They will direct act on the receptor. Another type of drugs are indirect cholinergics. What is the how do they work is that acetylcholine get metabolized into the products by enzyme acetylcholine esterase. So if we inhibit this enzyme, there will be increase in acetylcholine, and if there is increase in acetylcholine, there will be the cholinergic effect. So it indirectly act as a cholinergic drug. So there are two types of indirect cholinergic, reversible and irreversible, the functions of which we will discuss now. The in reversible there are two categories, carbamates and non-carbamates. In carbamates, there is drug called physostigmine. It is a tertiary amine, and neostigmine, which is a quaternary amine. So what is the significance of this tertiary and quaternary? In the tertiary amine, it crosses the blood-brain barrier, whereas neostigmine do not crosses the blood-brain barrier. So physostigmine is drug of choice for atropine poisoning. Atropine is anticholinergic. So if we give the cholinergic, it is the drug of choice for atropine poisoning, belladonna poisoning. For all of these, the physostigmine is drug of choice. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and goes to the brain and cause excitation, etc. But neostigmine do not crosses the blood-brain barrier. What are the other drugs? Other drugs are like rivastigmine and the pyridostigmine. The special point about pyridostigmine is that pyridostigmine is drug of choice for the treatment of myasthenia gravis. In myasthenia gravis, there is autoantibody against the cholinergic receptor, NM receptors. There is muscle weakness. So if we increase the acetylcholine, there will be some better result and the muscle contraction will increase. So drug of choice for myasthenia gravis is pyridostigmine. Always remember this. This is very important. So these are the carbamates. What are the non-carbamates? The three main drugs are edrophonium, donepezil, and the galantamine. Remember that the donepezil and galantamine are mainly used in Alzheimer's disease. In Alzheimer's disease, we all know that there is a memory loss. So if we give a drug which increases the cognition power, that is memory power, remembering power, it will be very beneficial in the cases of Alzheimer's. So donepezil and galantamine crosses the blood-brain barrier, goes to the brain and act on the NN receptor present there, and it will cause increase in cognition. So these are the two drugs. The other type of indirect cholinergic is irreversible, whose effects are irreversible. The main drug are organophosphates. This is very important, guys. You should remember that, organophosphates. Various examples of organophosphates are very easy, that like parathion, malathion, diflos, or ecothiophate. So these are the organophosphates. Now we have discussed all the drugs and the major drug of choice for various treatment. Now we will discuss some important concepts in parasympathetic nervous system. First of all, we will discuss the OP poisoning, that is organophosphate poisoning. What are organophosphate? We have discussed here that organophosphates are irreversible indirect cholinergic drug. So how do it act? I said that indirect cholinergics act by inhibiting the acetylcholinesterase. So you can see here that this is the this is the organophosphate which bind to the steric site of acetylcholinesterase. The purple color is of acetylcholinesterase enzyme. It has two sites, steric site and the anionic site. What do organophosphate do? That it binds to the steric site and it blocks the steric site. So now when the acetylcholine comes here, it cannot be metabolized by this enzyme. So there is increase in acetylcholine. So organophosphate bind at the steric site. So if we know that organophosphate binds irreversibly. So if there is organophosphate poisoning, that is parathion or malathion are mainly used as insecticides, so it is very easy that there can be organophosphate poisoning in farmers. So how do we treat that? We can give the oximes. Remember that oximes bind here to the anionic site and they attack this bond of the organophosphate and cleaves this bond. So if they cleave this bond, organophosphate will be released and our enzyme, that is acetylcholinesterase, will be again functional, and now it will causes the degradation of acetylcholine, and there will be decreased cholinergic actions. So what are the drug of choice for, what is the drug of choice for OP poisoning? Always remember guys, the drug of choice is atropine, not pralidoxime. That is, it is oxime. It is not the drug of choice, it is second line. Because first of all we have to treat the symptomatic symptoms. The symptomatic treatment is very important. Atropine is an anticholinergic drug. It will decrease the symptoms of this organophosphate. So first of all we give atropine, which is a drug of choice. Then we give a pralidoxime, which is an oxime, and we know how it functions. It bind to the anionic site and break the bond of organophosphate with the acetylcholine esterase enzyme. Now second important concept and the last concept in this video and parasympathetic nervous system is adrophonium test. It is very important because it is also known as tensilon test. Tensilon test. It is very important guys because it differentiates between the myasthenia gravis and the cholinergic crisis. That is, how do it differentiate between these two? In myasthenia gravis we know that there is attack on the receptors and the responsiveness of receptor to the acetylcholine is low. So if we increase the acetylcholine, there will be betterment. So if we give the adrophonium, which is what we have studied over that above, that the adrophonium is a non-carbamate reversible indirect cholinergic. So what do adrophonium do is that it increases the acetylcholine and improves the symptoms of myasthenia gravis. But if we give it in cholinergic crisis, it will worsen the symptom. What is cholinergic crisis? First we have to know this. In cholinergic crisis there is very high acetylcholine at neuromuscular junction. Due to this, the postsynaptic receptors are downregulated. First of all, these are receptors. If there is constant stimulation by acetylcholine, we know that there will be downregulation of these receptors. These receptors will decreases. So if we give the drug which further increases the acetylcholine, there will be more down regulation, and if there is more down regulation, there will be further more muscle weakening. So it is very easy to differentiate between myasthenia gravis and the cholinergic crisis. Adrophonium improves the symptoms of myasthenia gravis but worsens the symptom of cholinergic crisis. So guys, these are the important points about the parasympathetic nervous system. We have discussed the parasympathomimetic drugs. For parasympatholytics drug, that is anticholinergic drug, I will make another video. So this is all about the parasympathomimetic. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you like it, please subscribe our channel and see the further second part of this series, that is anticholinergic video. Thank you.